You serious? Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, we really arguing about something so harmless. After I apologize, he gonna say, oh, I'm gonna tell a girl she got a fat ass. Like, am I supposed to cry?
I understood what he meant. I understood that he felt some type of way. I understood that, you know what? That he felt like she was playing games. I'm not gonna deny that, right? And that she went and did too much. Right? And she did. But that at that moment should have been let me pull you aside and let me have a conversation. Right? At that moment, it should have been pull her aside, have a conversation. Okay? And then say, listen, look, I feel like you're doing a bit too much. You know, some of the behaviors you're exhibiting, right? That's what should have happened. Instead, what happened was that it went from 0 to 1,000 in seconds. And the reason why it did that is because he perceived a disrespect. This is not an excuse. It's a reason. He perceived a disrespect. But that disrespect connected with whatever emotional wound he's carrying of insecurity and feeling some type of way. Right? And his jealousy, which is coming from an insecurity, just like her jealousy is coming from insecurity, it connected at that spot. But when you launch into anger in such a way where you're violent, the Bible says that a man should love the woman like he loves his own body. When you can be violent to somebody, you're violent to yourself. Now, that tells us that there's a kind of hatred that you have of yourself and a dislike of yourself. That is what's emanating right now. And that person is representing a boundary that you probably could not defend at a point in time, and your anger is spilling over. See, when you're angry to that point, when we talk about emotional regulation, what we're talking about is a failure to express your anger because you don't have enough words to be able to express how you truly feel. An inability to be able to express oneself will lead one to anger. And so if you don't realize this, you end up doing what this guy's doing here, right? So you got two things. You got an emotional wound, probably from your childhood, right? Some fear or some abandonment or some issues there. And then you got another aspect where you're looking at a situation where actually you have a failure to explain yourself because you don't know how to, a failure to express oneself. And so because you can't express yourself, your anger comes out. When you can't use words to express, people tend to use their body to express.
She got a fat ass. Like, is my ass flat? Like, am I gonna cry? Is my ass flat?
The apology was phony, was a mannerism, it was a choice of words. He immediately went to cursing.
Now, here's the issue. If she was cursing and it was phony and it was all that kind of stuff, you did the right thing by walking away at first. Right? You did the right thing by walking away at first. So what happened? What happened? Because you were walking away, right? You were walking away. But let's see what happens.
Fight me or something.
I disrespected you. I disrespected you. Yes, you did. When? I called you out, disrespected me, and you couldn't act like this. Disrespected me.
She's laughing, but we can see that old boy's got her way too close. It's uncomfortable. He's holding her a little bit too tight. He's onto her a little bit too much. We can see definitely at this point in time, it's looking very uncomfortable. It hasn't escalated to a point where it's going to be mad yet, but it's still uncomfortable in this space. So at this point, I'm a little bit like, what's going on? Okay? All right? Now, I don't agree, and I hear what you guys are saying. I don't like what she was doing with the Hoochie Daddy shorts. She knows she's a jealous person, so I don't know why she kept on going on with that Hoochie Daddy shorts and talking to him. Now, her talking to the dude, I mean, but the Who's the Daddy shorts and kept on going about that, yeah, that's a problem. Okay? All right?
Nick and Alexis was laughing in the sink at the same time while they was arguing, so I couldn't tell if they were serious at first. Then it just seemed like out of nowhere that whole vibe just changed instantly.
That is see, you could have got away with that clench. It looked uncomfortable. You could have got away with it. Okay? All right? But at that point, the moment you pushed her, there's actually nowhere going back. We can't. You know what I mean? You could have potentially got away with it because we'd have looked at it like she's laughing, she's a bit joking, it was a little bit too close, you're a little bit too drunk, blah, blah, blah. But nah, at that point, okay, all right, at that point when you pushed her, you ain't gonna get away with it. What I'm saying is, we know it's inappropriate to hold. What I'm saying is, he potentially could have got away with it. It's when he pushes her that he's not gonna get away with it. Do you get what I'm saying to you? Right? So once he pushes her, that was like, bro, what are you doing? You're not dealing with another man. The Bible says that deal with women, to deal with your woman gently, right? It says that they are the weaker vessel. So you are supposed to deal them gently and to deal them according to knowledge. So why would you then get to a point where you're now pushing her? This tells me that probably this is not your first rodeo. This ain't your first rodeo.
You pushing me when we met.
And then he bucked at that point, like what? Like almost you want her to do something to you, so you can look that when you want a woman to be in your face to fight you, it tells me you have a level of hatred. And the hatred is coming from a place of when you feel like she doesn't respect you, and that usually comes from a fact of you don't feel like maybe the woman in your life didn't respect you. Maybe the woman in your life did not respect you, or you felt like you were disrespected by a woman in your life. This is why you're having to show her and buck up in this moment. You've been taught poorly about how you deal with women. Even if at that point, even if you feel at that point she's disrespectful, the fact you have to shove her, it's now becoming a problem. But now you're bucking too, which means you're waiting. You want her to do something so that you can have an excuse to fight her. At that point, my guy, we're in deep, deep waters. Now, watch this, because actually, she's trying to get away. That's the crazy part about it. He kept on following her. See, he's not even letting it go. At this point, she's trying to get away, and he won't let it go.
On the internet, it just felt so right. Like, this is a different person. Stop playing with me, bro. Stop playing with me.
Now, listen, this is what I do agree with you. I think she might have been in something similar. I think she's been in this situation before, because, like I said, she definitely didn't blink. Yeah, there was no blink. There was no hesitation. That pushback was no hesitation. But she don't deserve what she getting. You know what I'm saying? She don't deserve what she getting. Now, they didn't show us any evidence of the clip of her doing anything. Yeah, at this point, yeah, we are. The push was enough for me. This is an abusive situation, right? And I know that she pushed him back, but for me personally, his bucking and pushing was way too much. At that point, that person has every right to defend themselves. And she ran away. You can see her going away from him, and he's still chasing her. Yeah, at that point, yeah. That fight response, maybe that's her response, I don't know. But, that response told me, have you been through some things? You've been through some things. Hence why you didn't see the anger he had beforehand as a problem. The way that you swung told me that's why you ignored the anger we had earlier on, because you're used to this kind of behavior. This is dysfunctional behavior that you've seen before, and you'll see it again until you learn the lesson. You've seen it before, you'll see it again until you learn the lesson. Now, he is abusive for doing this. Because why are we fighting the woman that you're supposed to care about? You've known her for 6 months and you're fighting her? That this scenario was a shocking one. It was sad to see. I want to try and get to my notes. His speed to violence is a problem. It's 24 hours and you're already showing those signs, you're a problem. How is it that because you felt like she was... Listen, this requires a conversation, not you swinging on her. This requires a conversation, not you pushing her. This requires a conversation, not you being aggressive with her. This requires a conversation. Now we've got to question whether you're an abuser. Now, my thing is, why did it take so long for production to get involved? The moment he first pushed her, but I think it's because of this. It's edited. Yeah, because if you look at it here, they started at the door and they ended up back there, which means that part where they ran around, they've added that. I don't know why they've done that. Why production have done that, I have no clue. Why they didn't show that before. I don't know why they added that part in the middle, because it's given that part was the middle, because it feels like one whole movement coming from that door, then to there, he pushes her, she pushes back, then, you know what I mean? It seems like one whole movement. But he wanted to assert his level of dominance over her and let her know, right, that he's a boss in this situation. But it didn't need to get to this level. It never needs to get to this level. As a man, you don't have to let it get to this level. That's disgraceful. And I'm very disappointed in production too. But I wonder if that's because it was so quick. in that scenario because it looked like he went from the door to there. So he might have been following her around a little bit before then, for a little while before they got to the door. So before they got to a point where he's got her in a chokehold, they've already seen him chasing her around. So this they should have been in there. So yeah, I'm disappointed in that. Very, very disappointed, and it's nasty work. It's nasty work. For a man to do that is disgraceful. You know what I'm saying to you? The girl that you actually like, and he cannot come out and blame it on the alcohol. There's no thing as come and blame it on the alcohol. This is a normal behavior. This is what I'm saying to you. Like, people can't blame it on alcohol. People can't blame it. I didn't eat my food. I blacked out. There's no excuse. That's what I'm trying to say to you. When people black out, when people do this kind of angry spurts like this, there is no excuse. There is no this. There's no. We're trying to justify. When someone gets that level of anger at that point, there is a deeper issue within you. This is not a 1 minute moment. This is not. I had a moment. It's not. Skadachi for real. Skadachi for real. Absolutely. Yeah. Skadachi for real. We gotta go. Our time is up, guys. But I appreciate you guys who stayed around and watched the show. Thank you again. We'll be back, I believe, Monday because we'll have the panel on as well. And we'll see you again soon. So much love, much appreciation. Blessings.